Alrighty. Jacob is recording the call. We are back. It is
Sorry.
week 8. I am not alone this week. It's lovely. We have a friend here. Hopefully you guys didn't hate last week when it was just me without any notes or preparation. Jake is back, so the notes and preparation has happened again. We are not just winging it this week. So good for us. Welcome back, Jacob.
I thought the podcast was fun. Disappointed Trevor couldn't make it, but is what it is.
He's such a pain. I tried to. He every week he's like, "We're gonna go. When am I putting you on it? When am I getting on it? When am I getting on it?" And then I'm like, "Dude, come on it." And he's like, "I can't. I'm busy." What is that?
God, how long? I just think if Trevor gets on the podcast, it'll be like 4 hours of him talking about how good his team is. So I don't know if we could do that.
Well, I think if Trevor gets, I think it'll be fine if it's you and Trevor. I think Trevor and I would just yell at each other the whole time. So yeah, no, probably would be a problem. Trevor causes problems always.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he'll make a guest appearance when we get to playoff time. So
Let's
look forward to that, everyone.
Yeah. Other than that, before we start, want to wish Skull Daddy a happy birthday. It is his birthday today. The Lions rewarded him by trading TJ Hawkinson. All right.
That was a interesting trade.
Man, I was in court and my phone was blowing up. I was like, what is happening? I had texts from you. I had ESPN freaking out. I had Sleeper freaking out. I'm like, what? I am in court, people.
Well, it just felt very out of nowhere. Like there's just nothing about that, and it was just like, yeah, TJ Hawkinson trade. I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, I was talking to you today. Apparently, there's been a lot of news about trades happening that I just wasn't aware of and didn't pay attention to. Like all of a sudden, the Giants were in on Jerry Jeudy. Who knew? The only thing that could make Jerry Jeudy's career worse.
That's probably true. Although I'm not sure staying in Denver is helping him all that much.
Oh man. All right. Let's get rid of the real NFL, talk about what we only care about, which is fantasy football. The only reason the NFL exists is for fantasy football at this point. You laugh, but I actually think it's true.
No, I 100% think that's true. I think all the people that watch football at this point are fantasy players.
There's no other reason I watch the NFL. Straight up.
All right, enough with that.
Yes.
First game of the week, McGee versus Trent.
Trevor, move it into first place. What a time. This man just is winning, and it's annoying.
He's tied for first place, but
yeah.
Either way, Trevor's team is completely different than when it started, and he has a bunch of wins. So good job to Trevor. He killed every single trade he made, and now he has a really good team and picks. So look at him.
It'll be interesting to see how that Claypool trade affects him. Claypool going to the Bears now. See how that changes things. But I mean, Trevor won this game with QBs doing. I mean, Rodgers had a fine game, but Danny Jones not doing much. Trevor won at the wide receiver position. Waddle and Cooper putting up 46 combined is a fun time.
Yeah, Amari Cooper's been the story of the year. I mean, I don't even know what wide receiver he is at this point, but it's got to be top 10.
Story of the year feels like an exaggeration.
I don't know. I mean, when's the last time he was fantasy relevant?
Yeah, but story of the year, I mean, that feels just a little much. He's wide receiver 8, by the way.
I don't think he's finished top 20. I don't think he's finished top 20 the last 3 years. He's wide receiver 8. That's crazy. He's 28 years old. I don't know. Seems like a crazy storyline to me, but
I don't know how to see that.
You guys could leave your comments in below.
Wait, I could actually wait. Can I see this? I can see this. All right. So last year he was 25. Year before 18.
Okay.
2019 he was number 7.
Really?
He was a top 10 wide receiver 2 years ago.
Feels like 5 years ago, but I
He's
digress.
finished below 30.
I mean, he's always around that 20 to 30 range, I feel like.
So it's a little more accurate to say like the 14 to 25 range is where he finds himself. But story of the year just felt like an exaggeration. Go check it out. My off-season prediction was that Amari Cooper was a top 10 wide receiver this year.
Yeah, you also said Brandon Cooks would be good, so.
I was 50% right. That feels okay.
All right. I think the other story of the game is just Mac Jones is bad. Question mark?
Trent, I think that's 3 straight losses. Naheem Hines maybe becomes more valuable with that trade to Buffalo. Kareem Hunt didn't get moved today, which probably hurts Trent a little bit.
Yeah, that sucks.
You probably expect more than 6 targets to T. Higgins with Jamar Chase out. I don't know what Mark Andrews' injury is looking like, but that's tough. Tough week for Trent. 3 straight losses. Didn't start Antonio Gibson, which I guess if he started him in the flex, I guess there's nowhere to start him to win that game. But Trent is in an interesting spot right now. It feels like he very easily went from top of the league with some holes to now like possibly trading away some people and trading away some players to someone if they come with the right offer. Still in playoff contention, just feels like there's a lot of holes in that roster.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Feels like a team that could either trade for players or trade away players at this point. So haven't seen much activity from him in the realm of trades. So I guess maybe he'll get into that, but who knows? Definitely looks like a team that needs to do something at this point.
He traded Kamara to me very early on.
Very early, yeah.
I think he's willing to trade. I don't know if people are coming to him with the same trades. I can't say I know. Also, our league has gone like trade crazy recently. I told someone else who's in their first year of Dynasty that we have about like 2 to 3 trades a week, which I think is probably about our average, and he went nuts. So anyway, let's move on to our next game. Both of us predicted that one correctly, so good on us. Trevor, you're still a bad person.
Yeah. Next game, we got Lamb Chop versus Cam, or Too Many Cooks, whichever one you prefer to call them. Big game for Cam. The quarterbacks are back. Singletary, not a great game, but other than that, kind of got what you'd expect, I'd say. Jacoby Myers looks awesome, and Cam picked him up for nothing at the start of the year, so good job, Cam.
I just want to point out that Cam is starting 2 wide receivers that I've dropped. I also dropped Christian Kirk at some point in this Dynasty League. And Cam starts both of them every week. So good job, Cam, stealing from me and my stupidity. That's fine. Yeah, the QBs being back. I mean, Cam is a scary team if Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott are putting up 50. Diggs is great. Dalvin Cook had like a resurgence this week, which was interesting. I think like by far the most he scored this year.
Yeah, I think he's had another good game somewhere, but
25 against Chicago a couple weeks ago. So it feels like he's had a down year. He's still like middle of the pack running back situation.
Yeah.
And then Diggs is still putting up big time wide receiver numbers. He's got to be like what, wide receiver 2 or 3 this year, if not 1.
I think he's 1.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Cam's all in on the Bills here, which is a good team to be all in on. He's got Singletary, Diggs, and James Cook. I think that I guess that Hines trade kind of hurts him in the long run, maybe. But either way, he's got all the major players there. RB2 maybe a little weak, and maybe wide receiver 2 is a little weak. But other than that, well, he has DK on the bench. That was interesting. So I don't know, not a lot of holes there. A good week from Lamb Chop, not a great week. ETN looks awesome. So good job, Lamb Chop. Wish you traded me him earlier. Miles Sanders had a solid game. Everyone else was kind of solid, just not enough to take Cam down this week.
Yeah, and I mean Jamal Williams sitting on the bench with 22. His QB choice, I guess she should have started Zach Wilson over Burrow, but like you're never gonna do that. Lamb Chop's a little weak at wide receiver. Maybe Devin Duvernay starts to like find himself in starting lineups more and more often. As crazy as this is, Devin Duvernay is like wide receiver 20. I think he's probably having the year most people expected from Bateman.
Yeah.
And I mean, Lamb Chop is another one. He's sitting at 4-4, right in the middle of the pack. It'll be interesting to see what moves he makes. I think he got lucky. It looks like the Eagles didn't trade for a running back because it was looking like they were going to get somebody to replace Miles Sanders, and that would have made that McCaffrey trade just worse.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible, but it would have made it worse for sure. So, yeah, other than that, Lamb Chop still well in contention, and yeah, I think that's kind of all there is about him.
And one more thing before we move on to the next game. One of us predicted this game correctly. The other didn't.
Yep.
Can we just clarify who that was?
You predicted it correctly. I'm not sure that bragging about that is very impressive when you're comparing yourself to me, since I'm terrible at picking these games. So take that with a grain of salt.
Fair enough.
All right. Now on to my depression. Sean dropped absolute buckets on my head. I finally had a good week. I didn't do a great job managing my lineup, but it didn't matter. I wasn't scoring 158. I didn't have 158 available points, so good job, Sean. You absolutely killed me. Nick Chubb is that guy, unstoppable, and man, Lamb Chop, why'd you have to do that to me?
That trade, every week it looks like that trade gets worse. Maybe it's time to bring Sarouche back. I don't know. Maybe he had a point. But at this point, yeah, Sean just killing the absolute game. Freaking starts Tyler Conklin. That dude goes off for 23. He can really do no wrong right now. Karma is not coming to get him, which is crazy. Little birthday week, whatever. Austin Eckler on a bye week. Justin Herbert on a bye week, and he still puts up 160. Not much else to say. If this team let's not forget Travis Kelce, also on a bye week. Doesn't matter. If this team stays healthy, I don't know if any of us touch it. I thought your game was solid. I mean, I don't think maybe you need to start starting Justin Fields every week because that dude's putting up some numbers recently. I think Swift is easing back in. Saquon had a lesser game this week. You can't be mad. Godwin got the targets. CeeDee Lamb looked pretty okay.
Yeah, I mean,
got open.
Yeah, they decided to use Kyle Pitts, and look at that, he had a good game. So who knows? Maybe they'll keep using him. I doubt it personally. I guess the only thing I would have done is if I knew Debo would be out, I probably would have started Ayuk over Godwin.
Those
It's 7 points. I thought about starting Fields over Stafford, but I liked the Rams coming off bye. I was wrong about that. Yeah, not much I could do. Had a pretty good week. A lot of injuries. Jonathan Taylor got hurt again this week, so yeah, fun stuff.
Stories of the year. Jonathan Taylor being bad feels like the story of the year.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, the Colts are really bad, so I guess I'm definitely not expecting what I got from him last year. And I don't know. Maybe we should just rest up and get ready for next year because my season is over anyway.
Yeah, and this is the game that we both predicted incorrectly. We both picked you, although for some reason I wrote Trevor instead of you.
Good job, Trevor.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just predict Trevor to win every game. And let's move on to the next one where we have Mitchell versus Young Daniel.
Yeah, Mitch takes care of business again. Man, Deontay Foreman.
Better than CMC, maybe.
Not really, but
32 on the Panthers with PJ Walker as QB.
yeah.
However, maybe Tony Pollard also better than CMC.
Yeah. I think the Cowboys have to start considering getting Pollard in on more snaps because he goes wild every time Zeke is out. But apparently they don't want to do that. So, hey, I don't like the Cowboys, so I hope they keep following this path that they're on.
Yeah, Danny was put in a weird situation. Started Eli Moore this week because I guess he didn't have a choice. But I mean, that dude is like never on the field, so that's tough. I mean, the battle of the Eagles, AJ Brown went bonkers while Devontae Smith played tight end for a play or two. And if you see that picture, it is hilarious.
That picture's funny.
He's just like sitting on next to the offensive lineman, like, what are you doing? What is happening? Michael Pittman gets the targets, just not really the yards. On the other side, like I said, AJ Brown goes bonkers. DJ Moore had that ridiculous touchdown catch to end that game, and then immediately took his helmet off to make that extra point not go in. So Carolina still loses. So that was funny.
So I haven't seen that, but I heard he was on the sideline when he took it off.
He was not.
Okay.
He was certainly like in the end zone.
Not trying to argue it, just what I've heard.
Maybe I'm misremembering. I was sitting on my couch next to a Carolina Panthers fan, and we laughed as she was very upset.
Big game from Dulcich. I guess he's startable. I don't know. He's played well.
Mitch did get rid of Kittle.
Yeah. I don't know. Debo's out. I guess he's starting Dulcich. I don't think he has a. Yeah, I'd start Dulcich over Disley and Otten for sure. I guess Dulcich is on bye next week, but Cortland Sutton didn't have a great game, but I don't know.
Mitch
maybe
with Mahomes on bye.
Yeah, 140. Good job, Mitchell.
Yeah, game we both predicted correctly.
We're smart.
Now let's move on to Tommy versus Taint Man.
Yeah, another team that went absolutely crazy this week. I think he had 70 points from his two running backs and another 20 from Aaron Jones. So
Aaron Jones also running back for those who are confused.
Yeah. So with a down week from his two really good receivers, he still put up the most points in the league this week.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. Devontae Adams and the Raiders in general look really, really bad. I don't really understand what's going on there. New Orleans just Amon-Ra looked fine. He had the targets again. It's hard when you don't get in the end zone. Evan Ingram, the newest tight end for Taint, doing pretty well. Touchdown this week. Tua maybe is that man. Lamar played great, and I don't know. I'm not a big Sam Ellinger guy. Horns down always. Boomer Sooner. Sick 'em. The Horn Froggy thing. Wreck 'em. Any other Big 12 things? Manhattan, Kansas is a place. All right, moving on. Anyway, Tom on the other side. Josh Jacobs is starting to disappoint. Mostert had a less great game and should be interesting now with the trades they made this morning. Word on the block is that a certain someone in this chat has been trying to trade for Mostert for a little while. No names given, but it's not Chris. Boyd is viable depending on how long Jamar Chase is out. If someone wants to go spend on a wide receiver, Gesicki looks like he's kind of falling into that offense a little bit, although he'll be gone next year. Think he's pretty viable though for people. I think he'll be a viable tight end next year wherever he ends up.
Yeah, crazy they didn't trade him, but
yeah. Other than that, Mariota played pretty well again. Andy Dalton played pretty well again. Tom is certainly making lemonade. Algier maybe is going to keep starting. Moving forward, we'll see. But Tom is in rebuild. Tom is in draft pick mode. Tom is in Will Levis is his QB next year mode.
Is that your QB1?
I'm not going to give out my draft stock. Will Levis should be everyone's QB1, though, because that dude puts mayo in his coffee.
That's disgusting.
Correct. Also, a guy who was a backup at Penn State and we moved to Kentucky because Trace McSorley was starting and then Sean Clifford. Just fun facts. All right, let's move on to Najee time versus I Am Stupid. I Am Stupid gave me a little bit of a scare this week, and I didn't appreciate it.
I'd say you had a bad week more than he gave you a scare. But
hey man, D-Hop is that man.
Yeah.
That
I
dude,
think they need to start testing him for those steroids again.
That dude would be sitting at like wide receiver 1 right now if he played all season. Which is huge because Jamar Chase is out for at least 4 to 6, possibly longer. Mitch swears it's going to be longer, but Mitch is mean to me, so he's bullying me about it. I did enjoy the absolute chaos that was caused when I put Jamar on the trade block this week. Between the weird offers, the legit offers, and then like the 8 DMs where people are like, what is happening? It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was definitely in the what is happening camp. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's always good to check in and see what people are offering.
I tell you what, Biondi sent me a pretty realistic deal. But that's neither here nor there. I feel like I had a pretty awful week. Robinson scoring 2 points, Derek Carr scoring 3. Didn't really get in the end zone super much. Running backs combining for less than 20. The Cardinals won me this week, which is lovely. Kyler is the most fun QB in the league to just watch run around. He's like Speedy Gonzalez, if you've ever seen the cartoon. But anyway, Biondi, rebuild mode. We both picked me this week. It was closer than I would have wanted, but Rondell Moore played well. If Gabe Davis would have had one of his great games, I would have lost this week.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I think we can move on.
We are going to move on. So, whoa. All right. So the picks this week, You went 5-1. I went 4-2.
I am killing it.
You beat me on the lamb chop and cooks game, so good for you. That brings our records to 15-15 for me, which I'm enjoying. I'm back to 500. That's nice. And you're 19-11, which is actually looking pretty good. So, hey, maybe we'll keep it going.
So, and I think we went 3-3 Penn State Stony Brook this week too. I won, Mitch won, and Sean won. Yeah. So that's always kind of fun. We should go and calculate what the record against each other is, just because I have no idea what it actually is. But,
yeah, I have no clue.
I think this year, I did it last year at one point in time, and Stony Brook was quite a bit ahead when we did that. This year, I don't think that is the case. Going to the standings, both divisions have a 6-2 team. Sean and Trevor leading. 2 5-3 teams behind it. The big difference is that Penn State has 2 4-4 teams, and Stony Brook has 3 2-6 teams.
Yeah, we're bad, mostly me. So you're welcome.
You're really the only one that's not supposed to be bad.
Yeah, but we're bad, so we like being at the bottom, even though we don't have first-round picks. So that's where we like to be.
And then moving on to power rankings, ours are actually identical this week.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of boring. I guess we could go through it. Skullcap wins every week and dominates every week, so we have him there. Trevor finds a way to win every week, and his team's pretty good now. So I think he deserved number 2, but realistically, I think Tate Grass has a better team than Trevor.
I think Cam also has a better team than Trevor.
Cam probably has a better team than Trevor, but Tate Grass, to me, definitely has a better team than Trevor. But
I would argue the team in 5th also better than Trevor's. But whatever. Trevor's in 2nd because that dude wins, and we dislike him. And I did help him make his 2K player last night. 2K23. Anybody wants to join our Pro-Am team, we need more because Jake and Biondi have left us. My man's made another shooter like he did back in the day. Anyway, yeah. We put Tank Grass 3, Cam 4, me 5, Trent 6, Mitch 7, Lamon 8, you 9, Tom 10, Biondi 11, Danny 12. Straight up, it's a little boring this week, so I don't think we need to really talk about it.
Yeah, no need to get too far into it. Let's just go to the previews.
Yes, sir.
All right, so
week 9. What? A time.
What was that?
I said week 9.
Yeah.
It's flying.
Oh, you're right. Week 9. All right. I picked the game of the week this week, so I do that every week, but I picked Najee versus Mitch. Yes, Chris picked it last week since he was the only person on the call. But
I tell you that I did no prep last week, and Jake does all of the prep for this. I am super serious.
Yes, I make all of these Word documents and organize it, but Chris brings a flair to the podcast, so we like him.
Dude, you know how long it took me to figure out how to do it by myself last week? I had to use my cell phone and call it. So I was on Skype on both because it's the only way. You can't record it when you're by yourself. And I put my phone all the way in the kitchen, and I could freaking hear myself, and I just kept ignoring it. So a little behind the scenes for everybody. I don't know how any of this crap works, but I got it done.
Yes, Chris doesn't understand technology, so that's also my job on the podcast. But anyway, getting into the game, Najee time versus Weop Treewater. I think I pronounced that right for once. Yeah, I think big rivalry, just between Chris and Mitch in general. Part of the reason. Also, I think it's the closest game of the week between two contenders. Possibly decides. I don't know enough about the standings, but maybe decides the last playoff spot. I don't even know.
I don't think so yet.
Well, I guess between you guys and Lamb Chop, that's going to decide the last playoff spot.
Sean and Trevor are 1 seeds with buys. I believe Taint Grass is the 3 seed right now. Cam is the
I think Trent's 4.
4. Cam is
5.
And I am 6. So right now, playoff week 1 is Taint Grass versus myself, Cam versus Trent, Sean and Trevor buys. So yeah, Mitch and I could decide. Lamb Chop could also be in there. It's a little too early to tell right now, but yeah, it has some playoff implications for sure.
Yeah. So playoff implications, big game. Thought that it made sense to make you guys game of the week this week. I guess big thing for Mitch, he gets Mahomes back, which is really nice. Michael Carter gets the bump still from Brees being hurt, so that's interesting. Although the Jets look awful without Brees, so who knows how that'll go. Also, I don't know if James Conner plays this week. I'd say he does.
I mean, even if he doesn't, Mitch has Eno. I think the big thing for Mitch this week is that, and maybe it doesn't matter as much, but he's got a lot of wide receivers on bye. Well, Zeke is on bye, Gallup is on bye, Sutton's on bye, Debo's on bye, Dulcich is on bye at tight end. Mitch is having quite a bye week blues on not his best players, but I mean his roster is being set by bye week this week. He just doesn't have the options.
Yeah.
I think Michael Carter is kind of interesting. Part of me wants to start James Robinson just to start the Jet versus the Jet. That sounds just kind of fun. I think the big thing here, Najee Harris is on a bye for me. That's kind of about it. Honestly, what could be the deciding factor is which QB I decide to start. They play each other this week. And so I think if Kyler can stick somewhat to what Mahomes is going to put up, and then I pick the right QB, I feel okay. But it's a little bit tough here. Again, James Conner versus Eno Benjamin. Does James Conner step right back in and become RB1 right away? Or has Eno worked in enough that he's going to get some PT? I don't know. Does James Robinson take over more of that running offense this week compared to Michael Carter after how bad they looked last week? Again, I don't know. Do I trust him starting 2 Panthers? No.
Yeah, that's tough. Although I guess they've been better without Baker and Sam Darnold. So.
Whoa. Baker, yes. Let's not talk about Sam Darnold. He had a great preseason, and he's coming back, and he's going to be great.
Says that he won't start if activated, and that PJ Walker is their starter.
For now.
Okay.
PJ Walker, but give my man's like 3 more weeks. I think we got predictions though.
Anyway, I guess we should go to predictions at this point. I have you. I think the bye weeks really hurt him. I think starting 2 Panthers against Cincinnati, who's pretty good at defense.
Last night proved that different.
Okay. Well, last night proved that different, but has been decent at defense at least. And I don't trust PJ Walker to do things generally.
Great. Our life.
Yeah. And I just think you kind of overmatch him even with Najee out. I mean, Najee hasn't been all that great anyway, so it's not as huge a loss as you might have thought at the start of the year. I think you squeak out here.
So I think I agree with you. Figuring out who the heck I start at RB2 and flex is tough. Deontay Johnson also out. Jamar Chase, obviously. Fryermuth also out. I didn't realize I had 3 Steelers. That's kind of. But I think I feel okay about it. I think clearly Mr. Robinson is going to have to start at RB2, although his snap count went down a lot last week, and I don't know why. It feels like a weird thing that happened. All of a sudden, Antonio. I'm wondering if it was due to the trade deadline. They're like trying to get people to take Antonio Gibson. I just don't know. Maybe I can throw in Damian Harris, maybe James Robinson. We'll see what happens here, but we both have some bye week issues. I am also going to go me, though. I think that my wide receiver duo I trust more than his. I think my tight end I trust a lot more than his. And I think that Brady hasn't shown enough to put him over the top.
Yep. All right. On to the next game. We have another pretty big matchup. I guess it decides who's. I think Skullcap probably still ends up beating him on points, so I guess not. But maybe they'll be tied at the end of this, depending on who wins. Trent versus Skullcap. Big time tight end matchup. I guess the only ones you start every week at this point. I think that's the biggest matchup. Also, Allen versus Herbert, but Herbert's been surprisingly not incredible since the start of the year. I guess they haven't really been fully healthy either, so I guess that could be part of it. Other than that, Eckler's a big advantage for Skullcap here. Trent's still really looking for RB help from both of them. Antonio Gibson didn't really play a lot of snaps either, I guess. And then the QB2 battle should be interesting. That's the most I could say about that.
And so I think you and I maybe disagree about this one. I think Josh Allen is that special player. Legitimately, if Trent decided to tank and traded Josh Allen, that dude would get at least 4 firsts, would be my guess. RB is a serious concern for Trent. It's crazy to say this, but Sean has both McCaffrey and Chubb on bye and still probably has the running back advantage. Which is just like insane. Thanks, Lamb Chop. At wide receiver, you got to go with Trent's guys. Although T. Higgins has been, I would say, a disappointment this year. Jamar Chase out. Maybe T. Higgins hasn't been as much a disappointment as it. He is wide receiver 15, which I didn't realize.
Yeah, Higgins has been fine. I think he missed a game too.
And Andrews, I guess, is healthy, although I will say Kelsey feels like he is that man compared to Andrews. I know Andrews is tight end 2, but he feels way more up and down than Kelsey.
Yeah.
I don't love that Sean is going with Conklin as his flex position, but also I don't know what his other options are. I guess Robbie Anderson, but I don't know about that.
Start Josh Palmer.
Yeah, could start Josh Palmer. Going with a lot of Chargers then. Maybe Mooney gets some stuff freed up now that Claypool is there. Maybe Claypool takes some of that attention away from Mooney. QB's got to go. QB2, I think, got to pick Geno over Mac Jones by quite a bit right now, which I'm never big on Mac Jones, but that feels crazy to say. So I think we can jump to predictions.
Yep. I picked Trent. I don't have a ton of reasoning behind that. I think Higgins might have a big game. I still kind of feel like he's still coming back from that injury, even though it's been kind of lingering for a while. So maybe he's fully healthy. I think that Josh Allen is awesome, and he had a bad week last week. So I always like to imagine he gets a lot of points after that. And then I think Tyreek Hill is having a wild season. I mean, he only has like 2 touchdowns, but he's like has an unreal amount of yards. So I feel like he's kind of due for one of these giant Tyreek Hill games where he drops like 50. And Andrews is supposed to play, which I think was a big thing for me as well. And then QB2s, I mean, I think it's going to come down to who throws touchdowns. So I don't know. I think it's kind of a toss-up, even though Gino's been a lot better.
Yeah, and so I went the other way. I am going Sean. I think Herbert theoretically can match Allen enough, which is a little crazy. But he is playing Atlanta, who isn't the greatest defense out there. I believe AJ Terrell is still out, which is huge for that. Eckler is an X factor guy in this game. That dude is I would imagine he's kind of the MVP of this week. Again, Atlanta's defense is not special. I believe Sean's wide receivers do just enough to not match. He's going to lose at wide receiver, but he'll do just enough to make it okay. And I'll be real, I am picking Travis Kelce all day, every day, no matter what. He's gonna beat up on Mark Andrews. I just fully believe that. Mark Andrews coming off an injury. This game might be decided that Monday night with the Ravens, but also QB2, Geno Smith is going to beat up on Mac Jones. I think I would possibly go the other way if I was super confident in Trent's other flex to have like a huge. If I thought Trevor McLaurin was guaranteed to have 12 points, I think I'd pick Trent. I don't think I can say that about Terry McLaurin at this point in time. So, I don't care super much that Sean's starting Conklin.
Fair enough. So we're split there. On to the next game. We have Big T versus Lamb Chop. I guess this shouldn't be an exciting game, but I feel like it's going to be close.
This has upset alert written on it.
Yeah. I mean, down weeks for Mostert and Jacobs, so kind of do a little there for some points regression. Boyd should be good because Jamar's hurt. And Gesicki, London's been really disappointing since starting hot. And I guess Lamb Chop will change his second quarterback.
Gotta
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson starts. I think there's theoretically an argument that Zach Wilson actually should still not start against Buffalo.
Yeah.
But I mean, Tom is kind of set with Mariota and Dalton. I think the running back matchup is super fun with Pearson Etienne versus Mostert and Jacobs. I think the wide receiver battle is super fun in just the sense that Kupp is that guy while everyone else is kind of iffy, although I do have a lot of faith in Boyd compared to Robert Woods and Romeo Doubs. Although I like a lot of what I've seen from Romeo Doubs, feels like a pretty good pick for Tom moving forward. I'm a little weirded out by Gesicki's 5-point prediction. I know he's kind of had a down year, but I think he scored touchdowns the last 2 games, or at least 2 of the last 3. That dude is sitting at tight end 7.
Yeah, I think that's more of just tight end 7 isn't saying much this year. Looks like he has. It looks like he's mostly 4-3-3-1. He has a couple blow up games with touchdowns, but
I mean, he's a touchdown or bust guy,
Yeah.
which is fine. But I think it's crazy that Zach Ertz is predicted to score 5 more points than him. Zach Ertz is tight end 5 and has had a pretty good year. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know. 5 points seems like a really big difference on just prediction wise, and obviously predictions don't mean anything. Lamb chop with Miles Sanders, I have more faith in than Drake London having a big game, and then QB wise, I gotta imagine Burrow bounces back against Carolina. Although Carolina, if they are good at one thing, their defense is pretty good. Their front seven is decent. Their corners are okay. And by decent is probably better. Interesting, they turned down 2 firsts for Brian Burns, although I do enjoy me some Brian Burns in my life. So anyway, I think moving on to predictions, I am going with Lamb Chop to avoid the upset in what's a pretty close game. I do think that Etienne and Pierce match Mostert and Jacobs. Burrow is the X factor here, and Cooper Kupp is going to outscore Boyd and Dobbs.
I'm changing my mind. I guess I didn't pick this game. I thought I did. Oh, no, I did pick this game.
Big
It's just over there. Okay. So I am going to stick with Tom. I like the matchups here. Chicago's awful against the run, and so is Jacksonville. And then I like the Atlanta matchup for Mariota because I feel like they'll be down, and I guess he'll have the ball a lot more than usual. And then I like Dalton better than Zach Wilson. I think Zach Wilson's really bad, or at least he's looked really bad. So I just like most of the matchups. Kupp is obviously the standout player in this game, but I think Tom can overcome that. So I'm going with Tom.
Picking the upset. I like it. Upset is fun.
All right, on to the next game and my continued misery as I go 2-6 and then face another good team. I'm against Cam this week and I am bad. I think it should, on paper, it looks like it should be a close matchup. I don't know if it will be or not. Probably not. I'm ending up having to start 2 Bears this week, which is always loads of fun. Maybe I start Brandon Cooks, but I actually don't think he'll ever suit up for the Houston again, according to his Twitter. So that's an interesting development there. I have a lot of guys on bye this week. Would like to have not had that happen this week. I guess Waller may be back, but God knows. I don't know what to do with these tight ends. They're both I thought they'd both be good, and they're both terrible. So who knows what they're gonna do? On Cam's side, he's pretty much filled out his lineup. I guess he's going DK and Jacoby Myers this week. Dak's on bye, so that helps me. Maybe Justin Fields will pull out another crazy game since he's been playing well. But I guess I give myself the lead at QB2. Other than that, I think Cam pretty much beats me across the board. So.
And so I think I've got some disagreements with you there. I think Kirk Cousins coming back to Washington is a good matchup for him. Adding a weapon today, also has the best receiver in the league. Also, it's not a primetime game. So, Kirk Cousins does some good things in non-primetime games. Jalen Hurts also with a pretty good matchup. But I'm thinking out of Thursday, Jalen Hurts is going to give you his 20. I'm not seeing super much more there. I don't think Dalvin is going to come out and put up another 25 this week. I have no faith in Devin Singletary with the Nyheim Hines move. Maybe this is Devin Singletary's last week as a starter. also a little crazy to me that the Bills just went after Naheem Hines. Um, obviously, the Colts are really bad, but DeAndre Swift has another week. It looks like they're going to work him into some things, but it's another week. Uh, wide receiver wise, I think you match up okay. Stephon Diggs is going to be followed by Sauce Gardner all day on Sunday, so that's going to be a lot of fun for the Rook. Um, I am in the camp that Kyle Pitts has now turned it around. They're going to start looking at Kyle Pitts more. His targets are up, his touchdowns are up, his receptions are up. Um, other than that Cincinnati week, I thought things were kind of looking up for him. After that injury, after that, like 1 week he was hurt. Additionally, I think I'm still higher on Montgomery than most, although maybe Khalil Herbert's working himself in there. And I do think Justin Fields is a huge advantage at QB2 over PJ Walker. As someone who likes PJ Walker, Cincinnati, bad weather game, a team that just got beat up real good. It is a short week for Cincinnati, but they got beat up real good last night. They're going to come out firing. I am going to predictions. I am picking you to upset Cam here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could have guessed from how I was talking that I'm picking Cam. I get what you're saying. Nothing has seemed to work that way for me this year, so I'm not imagining it's going to start working for that way now. So I'm just going to say that things keep going as they go. Maybe I score like 100 points and lose, which would be like I had a pretty good week but still lose. So that's kind of how I see this week going for me.
I think that's fair. I don't know. Something in the gut is telling me go with Jake this week, so I went with Jake this week.
Then again, I feel like you go with me like every week and I lose every week, so I think you're just trying to jinx me.
Maybe I'm just hoping Cam loses so that it helps me in the playoffs. I don't know. Moving on to the next one. This man is 6-2 and then finds Danny.
Danny's projected 30 points this week.
Danny has like 8 players on bye in his starting lineup. Okay, just 3.
I do think we should talk about this. I think we should put a rule in effect that rosters have to be full. You guys could fill them, or by Thursday, if they're not filled, we're just gonna put the top points guys into your roster. So fill your rosters. Danny and Steve mostly are the ones that don't have full rosters. Just that's what's fair. So you guys could fill them, or we'll fill them. Doesn't matter.
So Biondi and I actually talked about this around turn 13 last weekend. And Biondi is fully cool with you and I filling out the rest of his roster. He just doesn't want to put in the effort to go look at who is there. Which okay. I get, but no, I agree. I think it is kind of unfair, especially it's just a way to tank without not setting a lineup. It's what we tried to avoid by switching the draft order to points. So I agree completely. Jake we can figure it out. I do have the power to fix any lineup as commish. Anyway, I'm not really even in the mood to talk about this one. Irv Smith is done now for Danny. Trevor's going to win this game by a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Trevor gets Daniel Jones on bye, but he's against Danny, who doesn't have players.
Danny literally doesn't have a quarterback this week right now.
Yeah, so so I guess he kind of lucks out, but I mean, he probably wins this game full lineups anyway. So yeah, not much to talk about here. Trevor should win easily. I think we both predict him to win.
Yeah, no, for sure. Trevor, I'm thinking, actually probably hoped he had more people on bye this week. Only Daniel Jones kind of sucks because I don't know what Trevor's end of the year schedule is, but he did yell at me that it's really tough. And he said, "You made my schedule tough." And I said, "I didn't make anything." Because I did not choose who played when. So I don't know who he plays at the end of the year, but apparently it's difficult.
Whatever that means. Okay.
Yeah, I yelled at for it. So apparently he knows his schedule. I didn't know who I was playing this week until I looked at your notes. So good on you, Trevor. All right, let's get to our last game here.
All right, last game, Tank Grease versus Biondi. Similar story to what we just talked about. Tank Grease should absolutely roll over him. Biondi's in full tank mode. I actually don't think that Tank Grease has a bye this week, so he's at full strength. Yeah.
Biondi literally has 6 open roster spots.
Yeah, so those are going to be full.
Thursday, boys. And and if you pick up Le'Veon Bell and Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown and Adrian Peterson and Chris Johnson and Arian Foster and Eli Manning, I'm going to lose my mind because they're all getting dropped from your team, and it means I have to do it, and I'm going to lose my mind. You will be docked a draft pick, and it will go to me. And it'll be this year. It'll be the first round. It'll be the first pick. So, threats.
All right. I think that's it, unless you have anything else, Chris.
No. We both pick Tate Man, right?
Yeah, we both picked Tate.
Cool. All right. So that, just to recap, we both picked Tate. We both picked Trevor. I went you went Cam. I went Lamb Chop. You went Big T. You went Trent. I went Sean. And then we both picked me over Mitch. So a lot of differences this week. Let's see who prevails and if you can catch me in our prediction race.
Probably not.
I hope not.
All right.
And let's call this one a day.
All right. Talk to you guys next week.